Hello and welcome everyone to another
Wait. I'm sorry.
Hello and welcome everyone to another InventRight.com TV show. Steven, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Andrew.
Wake
Thank
up.
you very much.
Wake up.
I'm awake.
We were just talking about feeling sleepy there a minute ago, so just messing with you. All right, so what are we talking about today? I need to wake up because you got the topic. I don't even know what we're talking about, so
Okay,
let's
Andrew,
jump in.
a lot of people ask, what do you guys do besides give all this free information away? We write books on how to license your idea, bring them to market. We write books. We do this InventRight TV show. We write for entrepreneur.com. We do all this stuff. We give all this information. People feel empowered. But we also teach and mentor students all around the world of how to take these 10 steps and bring their ideas to market.
I mean, that's our business. That's why we have a
business. But we never talk about it. So I'm going to make a point today for you to explain. I'm going to ask you a few questions. What do we really do? And how do we help people take their ideas and bring them to market? So we've been doing it for
I love it when you surprise me like this. I love it.
Well,
all right, good. I'm fair game.
Time.
Bring it on.
We've been doing it for 12 years. What do we do when someone has an idea? Tell us about our program.
Hey, doing the same thing for 11 and a half years, you think we know what we do, right? So what was your question?
We do, but I don't think other people know.
Well, I get people call me, so what do you guys do? And I'm like, what do you don't, didn't you go to our website? But sometimes people don't have time to go through the entire website, Steven. People are busy, So what we do is we hold people's hand and we make sure they're doing and saying all the right things for an entire year. So for an entire year, we say, like, let's say if you have a couple projects, I'll say this is the upsides and downsides of number 1, number 2, number 3, and I would recommend working on number 2 because of this. So we teach people to evaluate their ideas. That's the first thing that we do. Then and a lot of people have one burning idea. This is my burning idea, Andrew. I got to work on this one. Great. Here are the upsides and downsides of it. Here's exactly what you need to do next. So, you can't look at a book and ask it a question. You can call us and ask us a question for this project. What do I do next? And I'll tell you. And then I say, okay, here's what you need to do. I get you all going off in the right direction, right? And then I say, plus in addition to that, there's a video you can watch on that topic in our membership site for that particular topic, whether it's research, your sell sheet, your list of companies, protecting yourself, or negotiating anything. So then that student comes back, Steve, and this is where what we do really has a lot of value. I make sure everything is 100%, or other coach Alex or yourself, right? And so I say, well, you need to do this and this and this to make the sell sheet 100%. 5 companies? No, you could have 30 on this.
Okay.
Protection? Great. We've got a video on how to do a provisional in our website, but I think there's 4 other ways to do this. I would throw those additional versions, those workarounds into your provisional patent application to cover yourself. I think you're covering the best version in your sell sheet, but there's 4 other ways. This is something that even attorneys don't do, Steve. We help people reinvent their products so people can't work around them.
I know attorneys don't really do this either, but Andrew, how much money does that save someone? Just that point alone.
Well, you're not spending $15,000, $20,000 on a patent. You're spending $65 on a provisional patent.
65 what? Dollars?
$65. Yeah, $65. And then you're seeing that what we do is we teach you to get interest from the company. So the second you file the provisional, you start calling. If you get interest from the company, you get them to pay for the patent. I can't say 100% of the time you can convince them to do that, but we've got some specific techniques that makes it really hard for them to say no to that.
Got it.
Because protecting them is protecting you. Then on the tail end.
So once we help them determine if they've got a good idea, we help them with the protection of the idea. What about when they reach out to that company? I know we help them identify potential licensees, but what happens when they get a contract? What do we do then?
Well, basically, we're behind the scenes. So you're the mouthpiece, but before every email, before every phone call, you ask us what to do, and we tell you exactly what to do. So basically, we're doing the negotiation. They just think you're super smart. They don't even know we exist. So let's say you say, I got a call in 3 days. I might say, look, based on the prior emails and the prior communication, here are the 2 things I want you to ask them. It's going to make you sound really smart, and it's going to help move the deal forward, and here's why. And you're like, oh, yeah, I see what you're doing there, Andrew. And that one question that they emailed you that you're all worried about, here's how to answer it. Or they just send you an email, and you're like, Andrew, I don't know how to reply to this. Or Steve, I don't know. And we're like, oh, that's easy. That happens all the time. here's what you would say back to that. And I would get them on the phone next and talk to them about this or about that.
How much experience do we have versus those companies they're dealing with, do you think?
I would say 95% of the companies that our students are dealing with, we know more than they do about licensing.
Okay.
And they don't really see it coming because they got this new inventor, but they're asking these smart questions. They're not perceiving our student as this new inventor. The inventor that is our student is asking these smart questions, and they're not sounding the same as that wacky inventor that called that same company 6 months ago. So, and you know what? That's a bigger form of protection than patents. And that's why I don't think, we haven't had a single one of our students in 11 and a half years that I know of get knocked off. And it's because they conduct themselves professionally, asking some smart questions. You don't need to sound like super refined on the phone or anything like that. You just need to ask these smart questions, and they get it. They're like, this isn't Joe Wacky Inventor that we're talking to here.
No, I think what's amazing, Andrew, I tell all our students as well, you have a team behind you that I can guarantee has probably more experience than they do with licensing, because we've been doing it for many, many years. I've been doing it on my own for many, many years, and we see contracts all the time from big players, small players. We've seen all the terms. We know their strategy. We have common sense approach to get what our students need for a good deal. So we have the advantage. They don't.
Well, and let's go back to that common sense thing. If you call, and we do push our students to call more companies. If you call 30 companies, it's 30 chances for success. If you call 5, it's 5 chances for success, right? So I'm always pushing. You know, it used to be 20, and now I push our students to do 30. And most of them are able to do it. I'm glad that I'm pushing them to do that but let's say you call 30 companies and 4 companies show interest. Every time you get a little interest, it's like, ooh, I better call my licensing attorney. That's $200-300 an hour. Licensing attorneys are great. You want to use them at the right time, but they don't have the same kind of, most of them, not all of them, common sense business approach that we do. So what we do when people are a student with us for a year, we get you 95% done with the deal.
Okay.
Because if you can't agree on the major deal points, what's the point of hiring an attorney for $200-300 an hour? It's nutty. And then you get them to write the contract, and then you use the licensing attorney to dot the i's across the
I have a good question, though, but why don't I go with another company? I mean, there's other companies out there that are going to do it for me. Why don't I do them? They're going to do all the work. I'm going to pay them, I don't know, a few dollars, and they're going to do all the work.
A few dollars. Most of them are asking for $10,000 or $12,000.
Well, some of them may be less, maybe more, but why doesn't that work, Andrew? Because we get a lot of students from all these other situations that are out there. You know, I'm not going to name who they are, but we get them all the time. And then once they take our course, they end up licensing ideas.
Well, I'll tell you a story. I'll try to keep it short because I won't go too long here. I run an inventor association too, and I had this successful inventor come speak there, and he took a piece of spaghetti, and he put it in a straw and stapled both ends, and he sent it off to one of these companies, and said, "I want to patent and market my spaghetti protector." Okay, it's this piece of spaghetti in a straw with both ends stapled, and they sent him a letter back. He actually mailed this letter, like old.
It's a great idea.
And they said, it's a great idea. We can help you patent and market your spaghetti protector. What does that tell you?
Okay, but what about the other companies like Quirky? That's been in the news. They seem to do a good job.
I don't think there's anything wrong with these, these types of websites. But the reason why I don't think it's ideal is that we teach you to contact, like I said, maybe 10, 20, 30 companies, 10, 20, 30 chances for success. Quirky is fun. It's kind of a cool site. I think his name is Ben over there. I think we interviewed him once. Really cool what he's trying to do. But when you submit your idea to them, you're submitting it to one company. It's one chance for success. Is that smart?
Okay.
Not really.
Okay.
It's not ideal.
No, it's not. And I'll tell you, Andrew, what's really amazing. I think you're absolutely right. The approach to contact a lot of companies, like you said, like 30 companies, to be in full control, make those your relationships so you can send all those other ideas to those particular companies. You're in control of your own destination. There's no middleman there. And that's what we teach. We teach people, we empower people to do this themselves.
And Steve, we make people comfortable with that. Most people are like, oh my God, I can't do that. They just, what do you have to say about that?
Well, I think they end up after taking the course and making those calls and protecting their own ideas and doing the sell sheets.
Realizing they can do it.
They're empowered. In fact, they could never go back and do it any other way. I'll tell you that much, because now they realize I don't need that third party. I don't need that other company. I can do it myself. That's the power of our program.
Good, great stuff, Steve. Well, thank you, Steve. That was an interesting topic. I wasn't expecting that. If you guys like us, click on the bottom down there. Give us a thumbs up, and I guess we'll catch up with you on the next inventRight.com TV show. See you, everybody.
Thank you, Andrew.